If your high schooler has a learning disability or is neurodivergent and is way behind on classes and struggling with grades, here's my advice to help them get back on track to graduate without having to retake a bunch of classes along the way. By the way, hey, I am Raina. I'm an educator and a mom with my own learning disabilities. I got in trouble in class so many times as a kid because I had undiagnosed learning difficulties. And some teachers, not all of them, but some teachers just thought I wasn't listening or I wasn't trying, which stressed me out so much more and made it even harder for me to pass classes. One day, a teacher showed me how to lean into my learning strengths instead of just fighting what I felt were my weaknesses. And from that point, everything changed for me. Okay, so I'm only telling you this next thing so that you can see how much hope there is for your teenager, because this would be a really weird flex for an almost 30-year-old to be bragging about. But once I learned how to do school my way, I ended up having the highest GPA in my high school class of 400 students for 4 years in a row. Technically, I think I tied for highest GPA a few times. I've always convinced myself that if I don't add that in, that one of the people who tied with me is going to be like, false, you tied. You didn't have the highest GPA. So I'll put that in there just to be completely truthful. But anyways, graduating with a top GPA and with a semester of completed college credit from AP classes was something I never thought I was capable of doing when I was flunking all of my comprehension tests in elementary school and spending hours on really short assignments that shouldn't be taking me that long. And I truly believe that there is light at the end of the tunnel for your high schooler too. So I went on to earn my master's degree in education and spent 12 years so far supporting neurodivergent students like me and teaching them how to overcome a school system that doesn't always set them up for success. I can't even begin to list the neurodiverse students I've worked with, but off the top of my head, I've supported students alongside ADHD, autism, executive function disorder, auditory processing disorder, sensory processing disorder, and so many more different learning styles. As an educator, seeing so many neurodivergent students fall through the cracks of the education system really kept me up at night. Sometimes I was really angry, sometimes I was just discouraged. But I picked myself up, dusted myself off, and opened my private practice so I can offer meaningful, high touch, comprehensive support for high school students with learning disabilities or even undiagnosed learning differences who are drowning in missing assignments, stressed about failing grades, and needing an expert to help them pass that finish line with a diploma and a clear path to their dream career. I specialize in strategic, behind the scenes support. It's not tutoring because, in my opinion, when a student is weeks or months behind, one subject at a time of tutoring just isn't enough. Instead, I create a personalized roadmap. I coordinate with teachers and counselors, and I guide both the student and the family every step of the way. I am offering one spot right now. If you think your teen could benefit from my virtual support, you can click the link in the description for a free consult to see if we're all the right fit for one another. So right now I'm sharing how to help your teen with learning disabilities catch up to past classes before the end of the semester. So let's talk about why teens with learning disabilities fall so far behind in the first place. If your child has ADHD, auditory processing disorder, dyslexia, executive function disorder, or another cognitive difference, school isn't just hard, it's exhausting. These students often need more processing time, more repetition, and less chaos. And unfortunately, traditional classrooms don't always offer that. Assignments pile up, deadlines pass, and confidence drops. Suddenly, it's not just one missing math test, it's 47 missing assignments across 6 classes. And by then, your teen isn't just behind, they're overwhelmed and they're shutting down. And stress heightens learning disability symptoms, which is super, super helpful, right? And you, the parent, are stuck between trying to help them without burning yourself out and emailing 6 teachers, 2 counselors, and 3 administrators for the third time this week. So here's some general advice, but please make sure to adjust it accordingly, considering that your teen is wonderfully unique and needs a strategy that fits their specific learning strengths. So tip number 1, create a clear, doable strategy that works with your high schooler's learning style. Teens with ADHD, dyslexia, or auditory processing disorder or executive function disorder often struggle with planning and time management. Instead of telling them to just get organized, help them break down assignments into small, achievable steps. Speaking of achievable, so often I've seen students being behind in all 6 classes, being behind by over 60 assignments, only having a few weeks before grades are finalized, and trying to pass their classes by completing one lesson per class at a time. On a time constraint, all that's doing is maybe increasing their grades in 6 classes by a few percent points by the time grades are in, which could still mean that they fail all of the classes. So instead, I help them start with 1 or 2 of the most important, like core classes, the most passable classes, because it's way more beneficial for them in their specific circumstance if they could at least avoid having to retake 2 classes rather than having no credits to show at the end of all of that semester hustle. So, using a customized, achievable strategy leads to bigger grade boosts, and it helps neurodivergent brains release dopamine, giving them more confidence and momentum. Tip number 2, partner with teachers as soon as possible. It is so important that you or an advocate in place of you does need to be in constant communication with the school. Here are a few of literally hundreds of problems I've seen happen when there isn't a consistent line of communication. A teen will be spending hours on English makeup assignments, not realizing that they already have a high enough English score to pass the class, pending maybe a graded project is entered in the gradebook. And had they known, they could have spent those last hours before grade finalization completing a math project to pass math in addition to English. Another example I've seen is a teacher either did not remember a student's agreed upon homework modifications and accommodations per IEP 504 or an earlier conversation, or was not informed despite parents being told that the teacher would be informed. Another thing I've seen happen is a teen was not on a teacher's radar and the teacher would have been completely willing to accept late work and modifications at any point in the year, but because grades were already finalized, it was just too late. Those are just a few examples of major problems that could have been avoided through consistent communication. But the cause of those problems, it's not lazy parenting. It's usually the opposite. It's because parents are busy juggling 1,000 things. And since navigating the education system is a full-time job in itself, there just aren't always enough hours in the day to have consistent communication with the school. In order for your teen to recover their grades as quickly as possible, I do highly recommend them having someone on their team who knows how to advocate for their learning styles, their differentiated instruction, who knows how to collaborate with teachers and counselors, request extensions, reduce overwhelm, and make sure their strengths are being used to their advantage. This is one of the things I take completely off your plate inside of my program. If you want to share your students' obstacles with me and see how I can lift some of the academic weight off of your family's shoulders, the link to my free consultation is in the description. I generally offer really limited openings, and I know YouTube videos are evergreen, so just know that if the link to apply for the free consult is there, it means there is an opening and that you're not wasting your time applying to something that's already closed. So tip number 3, don't focus on tutoring right away. If your child is already weeks or months behind in school, tutoring can feel like trying to patch a sinking ship with a sponge. What they really need is a strategic intervention. Someone to triage the situation, prioritize missing assignments, and communicate with the teachers and counselors to make sure the work actually gets accepted at the right time, giving them time to raise their grade before the end of the semester. I believe there is an absolute time and place for tutoring, like maybe over the summer or when every single assignment is submitted and it's time to start bringing up test scores. But if they're way behind and spending a few hours a week working on one math concept with a tutor, those are hours that might have been better spent finishing 6 missing assignments. So instead of tutoring, I believe they need someone to figure out exactly what's required to pass in the time that they have left in their semester. They need someone to communicate with their teachers and counselors, request extensions, remove the busy work, and help them prioritize the most high impact assignments. They need executive functioning support, emotional reassurance, and a no-shame approach. That's why I created my private academic rescue program. This is a strategic intervention. It's high touch, asynchronous, flexible, and tailored to your teen's exact needs and strengths. Here's a little bit of what it looks like. I create a personalized plan to get your teen from failing to passing as soon as possible. I check in with your teen through quick, not overwhelming texts and audio messages that support executive functioning and accountability. I communicate directly with teachers and counselors to advocate for your teen, request needed assignments and modifications, and clarify expectations. I guide you, the parent or guardian, so you're not left guessing what to do next. And most importantly, I help your teen rebuild their confidence without burning them out in the process. So this isn't about pressuring them, it's about unlocking their potential and using strengths-based learning strategies. Speaking of potential, I love this story so much. One teenager I worked with was a freshman with ADHD and executive function disorder who had 3 Fs when she started. After 3 months of working with me, she had passed every class and even got an A- in one of them. And those grade changes were so awesome to see, but what was even more rewarding for me was to see how much more confidence she had that she could graduate and get her diploma to get the career she was interested in. If you take 2 things from this video, it should be 1, that there is so much hope for a brighter future and a brighter present for your high schooler, and 2, that if your teen is currently failing, don't wait. Every single day, every hour counts. Once I helped a student go from a failing grade to a passing grade literally in the last hour before grades were finalized. I do not recommend counting on that last hour by any means, especially because of how stressed I was for him. But because that student implemented my strategy, he turned in a specific assignment to a specific teacher, raising his grade by the few percentages he needed to pass, saving himself from having to retake an entire class over the summer. Here are a few final thoughts about what you can get started doing with your teen today. 1, talk to your teen with empathy, not panic. The panic will just make everything worse for them. 2, don't try to do it all at once. Collaborate with teachers and counselors to find the most achievable, highest impact tasks. And no matter how close to the end of the semester it is, it's always okay to bring in help. This is where my program is a game changer. I'll take the academic burden off your family's shoulders so your teen can focus on what really matters, which is, to me, progress over perfection and learning to lean into their unique learning strengths so they can stay on track to graduate and enter the workforce knowing exactly what beauty they have to offer the world and how much the world has to offer them. I only work with a small number of students at a time to ensure that no student in my caseload falls through the cracks. Currently, I have 1 opening. If your teen is behind due to struggles relating to ADHD, dyslexia, autism, executive functioning, or another learning disability, or even just struggles that haven't been formally diagnosed, there's still time to get them back on track before the final grades are locked in. If you click the link in the description to apply for a free consult with me, we'll talk through your teen situation, and if it's the right fit for both of us, for all of us, we'll create a path forward together. Thanks for watching until the end to support your student, and remember, there is so much hope for them in school. I have many more videos coming, so subscribe if you'd like to be notified when they drop. In the meantime, I'll be rooting for your kiddo. Thanks, guys. Bye.